5:30 p.m. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Broussard? Ms. Gilchrist?
Here.
Mr. Glassburn?
Here.
Ms. Heeman? Here. Mr. Limpert?
Present.
Mr. Madden?
Here.
Mr. Scarl?
Present.
Ms. Williamson?
Here. Will the clerk please read the issue before council this evening?
Ordinance 2023-95, an ordinance amending the zoning map of the city of North Olmsted to rezone a portion of split parcel 233-26063 from one family residence to B3 general business zoning as amended.
Thank you. I would like to remind council this is a public hearing and you are here to listen to the public comments. However, you are welcome to ask questions or offer follow-up to audience comments. Will the Director of Economic and Community Development please give council and the audience a brief description of the issue at hand?
Good evening, Madam President. Thank you. The issue at hand is rezoning of a parcel that is approximately 131 feet wide by 250 feet deep, as described in the lot split consolidation plat that was Exhibit A attached to the legislation. It would rezone the parcel from a residential use to a business use to allow for the expansion of one of our local businesses, Weber Automotive. They have committed to significant investment that includes new employment opportunities in the city. And it's our department's opinion that it is a good thing to be able to facilitate the expansion of a local business that's done really well. And Mr. Weber is here tonight from Weber Automotive, should this council have any questions. So with that, Madam President, any questions that council may have with respect to the rezoning, I'm certainly here to answer them.
Thank you, Director. Okay. I'm going to open it up to audience then. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to address council on ordinance 2023-95 only, please approach the podium, state your name and complete address for the clerk. If you live in a city other than North Olmsted, please state the name of that city and proceed with your comments. You will have up to 5 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Ted Grabowski. I live directly next to that property. 233-26062 is my parcel. I know that area in there where they're tearing down the school is to be used for, I thought, residential. Exactly how is this? Is there a map showing exactly what we're talking about here, or something that gives us a better idea of?
On the backside. That's the way the survey bounds are. This is an overlay of a satellite picture. This is the actual legal description, so it kind of hits that corner. But the rendering of the property itself, the back part is to be used for stormwater retention. It's not that the building isn't going to go to the back of that property line. So that's a stormwater retention facility. Pond.
Mm-hmm.
That's the back of this lot right here.
Where's my property in comparison to that?
Mr. Grabowski,
Yes.
would you be able to state your address for the record?
5392 Hampton Drive.
Thank you.
So,
Madam President Pro Tem, could the Director Upton, for the audience here and those watching at home who can't see what he's pointing at, just briefly describe where the property is and
Yes, Councilman, the property is immediately north of the Weber Automotive parcel. It goes back of that parcel approximately 250 feet, and is approximately, it's the same width of the Weber Automotive parcel that's immediately south of it. Really, the one parcel that's immediately affected is, as in it touches on the line, is 5462 Berkshire Drive. And so what I was showing the resident is the representations that were attached to the exhibits on the legislation that's available via the council's legislation tracker online for those watching at home or on YouTube or any of that sort.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Certainly. Seeing no other comments, is there a motion on the floor to excuse the absence of Council President Broussard?
Madam President, I think there was one other individual that was looking to speak, or Director.
Sorry, I did want to include the fact that we will be asking for a motion at the regular council meeting for the city council to grant an extension of the review period for Planning and Design Commission to review the rezoning. Reason being that the land sale parcel has not been authorized by council, and we didn't want to get the cart ahead of the horse and rezone a property that we didn't know would be able to be sold via the legislation. So we'll be asking for that motion. I stand to be corrected by Director Garreau, but it's on the floor of the regular council meeting.
Yes.
Thank you. So just for everyone in the audience, it'll have to go to a planning commission review at a subsequent meeting. So.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the audience? Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor to excuse the absence of Council President Broussard?
So moved.
Second.
Was that Scarl? Okay. Motion made by Councilman Scarl, seconded by Councilman Glassburn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Council President Broussard is excused by a vote of 7-0. With the agenda being completed and there being no further business to come before council, this public hearing of October 17th, 2023 is adjourned at 7:39 PM. The caucus meeting of October 17th, 2023 will now come to order at 7:45 PM. Present are council members Gilchrist, Glassburn, Heeman, Limpert, Madden, Scarl, and Williamson. The mayor, directors of law, human resources, economic development, safety, service, recreation, and guests. If there are no additions or corrections, the caucus meeting minutes of October 3rd, 2023 are approved as written. There are 9 items on the agenda being requested for suspension this evening. The first is ordinance 2023-94 on second reading. Mayor Jones, would you like to address this?
Thank you, Madam President. 2023-94 was heard in committee and was amended after verifying the number of acres and square feet. And so we're asking for suspension of the rule that has now been complete and had been heard by the council committee.
Thank you. Are there any objections from council to suspension? Okay. Next is ordinance 2023-105 on second reading. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. 23-105 is the appropriation of over $82,000 for the North Olmsted Safe and Healthy Homes Home Repair Program Fund, subject to reimbursement by the NOPEC grant program. This was also heard in committee, and we are requesting suspension this evening to start the process of going for that NOPEC grant and then transferring the money over into that fund.
Thank you, Mayor. We heard this in council, or in committee last week. Isn't there a deadline to use the money as well?
There is, Council President, the deadline is mid-November.
Thank you. Is there any objections from council to suspension on that?
Madam President, the deadline is to commit to use the money, right? Not necessarily spend the money, but to commit that we're going to participate in that.
No,
thought
I'm
the
sorry,
eight-
Council President, to the councilman, the money needs to be spent. So it needs to,
Okay, and then next year's is going to be able to be available as well.
that's
Yes.
correct, and that will
Okay,
be a
thank you.
discussion we would bring to council.
It's the 82,500 that's, needs to be spent by then. Okay, no other questions or no objections to suspension. Then the next item is ordinance 2023-107 on second reading. Mayor?
Madam President, both 106 and 107 are.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Skipped one.
Ordinances accepting the permanent right-of-way easements that our law department had negotiated with those homeowners in order to establish a wider lane so that we can put a turn lane on Clegg Road when we go forward with that construction next year.
Thank you. Are there any objections from council to suspension of 2023-106 or 107? Okay, seeing none. Then we'll move on to resolution 2023-109 on second reading. Mayor?
Madam President, 23-109 is authorizing our Director of Finance to create the Federal Equitable Sharing Fund, which tracks both revenue and expenditures for the U.S. Department of Justice and the Treasury Equitable Sharing Funds for tangible property distributed to the city. As the Finance Director mentioned at the Council Committee meeting last week regarding this ordinance, that we need to do this by law, by federal law, and we're just asking council to move that forward.
Thank you. Are there any objections from council to suspension? Okay. Ordinance 2023-110 on second reading.
Madam President, 110 is our annual agreement with Cuyahoga County and the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Division, which helps us to implement a community diversion program to handle those youths that are charged here in the city of North Olmsted with crimes and let us as a city be able to help rehabilitate them. It's we think a program that has a lot of value and would ask council to please consider suspension so that we can meet that deadline imposed by the county.
Thank you, Mayor. Any objections from council to suspension on 110? Okay, and lastly, on second reading, ordinance 2023-111.
Madam President, this is our usual transfer appropriations ordinance that was heard in the Finance Committee last week, and just asking council to please suspend this so that we can move forward with those projects that we need to.
Thank you, Mayor. Any objections from council to suspension of 111? Okay, on first reading, being requested for suspension this evening is Resolution 2023-113. Mayor Jones, would you like to brief council on this one?
Yes. Thank you. So I actually have Tiffany here from the Senior Center who would like to brief council on 113, please.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I'm Tiffany Hunt. I'm the administrator at the North Olmsted Senior Center. And we are asking to submit for a grant through the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging to continue our congregate meal program. The biggest change this year is that they are doing a 4-year cycle now. So this will be for 2024, 2025, 2026, and 2027. And we're going to be requesting the congregate meals to serve our seniors. The cost for our members is just $1, suggested donation, no one's denied service for inability to pay. And the grant is due on this Friday at 3 p.m. So that's why we're asking to get that approved today to put in for it. We are hoping to serve about 10,000 meals to our members. We serve about 200 unique individuals every year for these lunches, and this will help pay the salaries of our hot lunch program manager and nutrition aide, as well as to provide, we can order up to 10,000 meals.
Thank you. Are there any objections from council to suspension?
I don't have an objection, Madam President. I just have one question.
Certainly.
Thank you. Hi, Tiffany, how are you?
Hi.
This is a grant that is, we have to put a match or any amount to it, or it just is money coming to us
Oh.
for the meal program?
Yes, thank you, great question. So no, there is no cash match required. They allow us to use a portion of our salaries and then our volunteer hours. That's the match that we put in for this grant.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Lastly, on first reading, also being requested for suspension is Resolution 2023-114. Mayor?
Yes,
Anyone?
Madam President, thank you. Director Upton is going to speak to you. We, unfortunately, I apologize to council, we got those numbers mixed up. So
Right.
Administrator Hunt was speaking about 114, which is the nutrition grant.
113.
And 113 is the community development block grant.
Oh, sorry, yep.
That's okay. That Mr. Upton will speak to you about.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. This item is being requested on suspension. The Community Development Block Grant applications to the county are due at the end of the month. This year, we have identified the Senior Center rehab as the project that scores the best based upon the criteria the county set forward. We also have still a bit of a funding gap because of the way costs have escalated. So CDBG will supplement already existing funds committed through the American Rescue Plan to finish the Senior Center's kitchen rehab project, to update it and that sort of stuff. So on the particular scope of work, I'm sure my colleague, Mr. Pinchek, can opine on what exactly will be covered as part of this particular grant application.
Thank you, Director Upton. As part of the renovation project for the Senior Center, we're looking at redoing the community cabin kitchen and installing new equipment in there such as refrigeration, stoves, hoods, countertops, ceiling, tile, flooring, stuff like that. We're also hoping with this grant that we can tackle the bathrooms to make them more ADA compliant, as well as restrooms right outside the senior center as well. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah.
Mr.
When you
Lin-
say the restrooms outside the senior center, are you talking the ones in the back?
Right behind the
kitchen?
building, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Scarrow?
Director Pinchuk, thank you, Madam President. How much is the grant for?
$150,000, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just the same question. Do we have a match, or what's our portion of it, or it's just 150,000 coming to us?
No match. Yeah, there's no match for this grant.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any objections from council to suspension? Okay, thank you. Move into assigning legislation. Resolutions 2023-112, 123, and 124 are assigned to Public Safety, Health, and Welfare. Resolutions 2023-113 and 114, 117, 118, and 119 are assigned to Recreation, Public Parks, and Buildings.
Madam President, Pro Tem,
Yes,
13 and 14 are on suspension.
I know that.
Oh, okay.
I'm aware of that.
Okay, got it. Okay,
Thanks.
Thanks.
Resolution 2023-122 is assigned to Environmental Control. Resolutions 2023-115, 116, 120, and 121 are assigned to Streets and Transportation. I would like to schedule a committee of the whole for Tuesday, October 24th, to hear a presentation on the Aerozone Alliance sponsored by Director Upton. Does anyone on council have an issue with starting this presentation before 7 p.m.? The presentation is supposed to last at least 30 minutes.
And what day is that?
24th. Would everyone be okay to start at 7 or 6:45 or 6:30? Yes?
4
No?
o'clock, 4:30?
Would 6:30 be too early for anyone? Okay. Then let's do 6:30. Okay. Then I will schedule a Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee meeting at 7 p.m. to hear resolutions 2023-112, 123, and 124. I will say I need 10 minutes. Councilwoman Heeman, would you like to schedule a Recreation, Public Parks, and Buildings Committee meeting?
Yes, but I have a question first. Which item did you put into my committee? I think I know, but.
So 113 and
Yes,
113 and
of course.
114 are on suspension, so you have
Correct.
117, 118, 119.
17, 18, and 19.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to be, thank you so much. And what is your estimate for your public
I
safety?
said 10 minutes.
Okay, so I will begin Public Parks, Buildings, and Recreations at 7:10, and I will schedule that until, I'll go to 7:15, although it might run over a little, but I'd rather have the option of not having a lag between
course.
myself and the next committee.
Of course.
Meeting. Thank you.
Councilman Scarrow, would you like to schedule an environmental control meeting?
Yes, I would, Madam President. I believe I'm only going to need 5 minutes, as this is probably a reoccurring contract that we have with the Board of Health.
Okay, so yours would be
So I'll
7.
go from 7:15 to 7:20.
Thank you. Councilman Madden, would you like to schedule a Streets and Transportation Committee meeting?
Yes, Madam President. I'd like to schedule a meeting starting at 7:20 and ask for the service director to be present and maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to remind everyone that the next council meeting will be on Wednesday, November 8th, due to the elections on Tuesday, November 7th. Does anyone on council have anything else they wish to bring up this evening?
Madam President, pro tem I do. So it was mentioned in the public hearing, but I'll be recommending that we postpone ordinance 2023-95 to extend the time for that PDC for 30 days.
Okay, thank you. Anything from the administration?
No, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor. Seeing nothing else, the caucus meeting, October 17th, 2023, is adjourned at 8:01 PM. The council meeting of October 17th, 2023 will now come to order at 8:01 or 8:02 PM. The audience is invited to join council in the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Broussard? Ms. Gilchrist?
Here.
Mr. Glassburn?
Here.
Ms. Heeman?
Here.
Mr. Limpert?
Present.
Mr. Madden?
Here.
Mr. Scarrow?
Present.
Ms. Williamson?
Here. If there are no additions or corrections, the council meeting minutes of October 3rd, 2023 are approved as written. The following 9 pieces of legislation are being considered for suspension of the rules this evening. On second reading, ordinances 2023-94, 2023-105, 2023-106, and 2023-107, Resolution 2023-109, ordinances 2023-110 and 111, and on first reading, Resolutions 2023-113 and 2023-114. Also, I would like to remind everyone that the next council meeting will be on Wednesday, November 8th, due to the elections on Tuesday, November 7th. Moving into reports, Mayor Jones, do you have a report this evening?
I do, Madam President, thank you. The North Olmsted Comprehensive Master Plan Visioning Meeting will take place from 6:30 until 8:30 PM on Thursday, November 16th, in the cafeteria of the North Olmsted High School. All city council members are strongly encouraged to attend this important meeting. Tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, I will be swearing in our newest police officer, Kyle Storm, and the city's first female firefighter-paramedic, Jacqueline Kirch. Please join us for the first of 2 North Olmsted Community Park Master Plan renovation public meetings to take place from 7 until 8 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, October 18th, at the North Olmsted Community Cabin. Administrative members and staff will be on hand and available to answer questions in an open house format. Renderings of park renovations will be on display for public input. Possible improvements may include renovated ball fields, green space, restrooms, walking trails, additional parking, and a new performance area. Spruce Elementary School site plan improvements will also be shared. Suggestions and community input are encouraged for the future of planned recreation area. The second in the series of these meetings will be held from 7 until 8 p.m. next Wednesday, October 25th. From 11:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday, October 25th, we will host trick-or-treating at City Hall for City Hall employees and their families, as well as members of the community. Departments will decorate in the spirit of Halloween season, and City Hall workers plan to dress in costume for the children. This is a new event this year and an alternative for those who may not wish to go trick-or-treating door to door or who are too young. This is for ages 5 and under. Another new event this year is the first Boogie Bash Halloween dance to be held from 6 until 9 p.m. on Thursday, October 26th at Springvale Ballroom. Tickets will be sold at the door for only $15 per person, or if you bring 3 canned goods to be donated to the Oxcart Food Pantry, admission is only $10. You can wear your favorite costume and enjoy a cash bar, a wine pool, finger foods, and dancing to DJ Carl. And that event is for adults. Trick-or-treating will be observed in the city from 6 until 8 p.m. on Tuesday, October 31st. Participating residents are asked to turn on their porch light during those 2 hours. The city is partnering with the Great Northern Mall in Moen to hold the Rained Out North Olmsted Boom event as part of Santa's Grand Arrival at Great Northern Mall on Friday, November 17th. The event, also sponsored by Northeast Ohio Parent Magazine, will begin indoors at 5:30 p.m. Christ the King Vineyard Church has graciously agreed to host and sponsor a hot chocolate station in the mall parking lot. At approximately 6:30 p.m., everyone will gather outside for Santa's Grand Arrival and the fireworks show. And once the show is over, everyone can head inside to get their pictures with Santa. And finally, council members, I would ask if you could please excuse my absence from next Tuesday's meetings. My family will be in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, watching my son graduate from basic training. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Director of Law Garreau, do you have a report this evening?
Thank you, Madam President. I do have a brief update on a couple of cases I've reported out to you in the past about. One of them has been kind of quiet, is Ted Bowman versus the City of Fairview Park, which includes also a lawsuit against the City of North Olmsted and several of our police officers. That one is in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Ohio. It's in federal court. That matter we have discussed, reviewed, and we are filing a motion for judgment on the pleadings. It's based upon statutes of limitations. It's also based upon the fact that there's some pleading deficiencies, federal law pleading deficiencies. I am very optimistic that will be granted in our favor and the case will be dismissed. I've also instructed, and we're undertaking a review to pursue sanctions against plaintiff in that case. This is a plaintiff that has sued the City of North Olmsted before, sued the City of Fairview Park here, sued the City of Olmsted Falls, where a judgment was taken against him by the City of Olmsted Falls for a frivolous conduct. Attorney's fees were awarded, a judgment lien was taken, and they are actually foreclosing on his properties. So this is a prolific filer, and at this point, we need to make a statement. So if we can do it, we're going to do it. So that's where that stands. We expect that that'll be dismissed soon. The other one that we have is, the Silverstein firm versus the City of North Olmsted, Planet of the Vapes. This came to the BZBA a short time ago. Their certificate for new business occupancy was denied. In between the decision of the building commissioner to deny it and filing for an appeal before the BZBA, which is what you're supposed to do, they filed a lawsuit basically trying to get the exact same relief that they're supposed to get from the BZBA. We aggressively went after that lawsuit to have it dismissed, and then they appeared at the BZBA for the hearing, and they did not exhaust their administrative remedies. So once you go to BZBA, you have to then file in the Court of Common Pleas. That time frame's up. So we're going to take another run at this to have that case thrown out because we believe a motion for summary judgment would be in order because they have failed to exhaust their administrative remedies, which is a requirement at law. When you have an administrative remedy, you have to follow it, you have to pursue it and exhaust it. And if you don't do that, you can't go to court and ask for relief. So that's basically where we are with that. And we're going to go ahead and ask the court to hopefully grant our relief on a summary judgment motion to have the case thrown out. So those are the two cases I wanted to bring up to speed on. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Is there a report for Director Kopfer this evening?
I do have a report for the finance director.
Thank you, Mayor.
you. Director Kopfer said that she attended the Ohio GFOA seminar that was held in Cleveland this year. It was very informative and also provided the necessary hours for the mandated State of Ohio Center for Public Management certification. One of the items discussed was that the state has increased the threshold to require public bidding from $50,000 to $75,000 in the Ohio Revised Code. The city's charter follows the state rules, so this new amount will be implemented, and she wanted to be sure that council knew of this change. And that concludes Director Kopfer's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Moving into council committee reports. On behalf of Council President Broussard, I will provide the Committee of the Whole report. The Committee of the Whole met on October 10th, 2023. Present were all of council, the mayor, and directors of law, finance, human resources, economic development, safety, service, and the special assistant to the mayor and guests. The Committee of the Whole began at 7:52 p.m. Council and members of the administration heard a presentation by Roby Simons of Robert A. Simons LLC on North Olmsted's Housing Master Plan and the highest and best use analysis for the Forest Elementary site. After which, council adjourned at 8:31 p.m. into executive session to consider the sale of property at competitive bidding if premature disclosure of information would give an unfair competitive or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the general public interest. The Committee of the Whole reconvened at 9:24 to close the meeting at 9:24 p.m. As as Chair of the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee, I have a report to share. As the committee met on Tuesday, October 10th at 7:07 p.m. Present were committee members Williamson, Madden, and Glassburn. All members of council, the mayor, directors of law, finance, human resources, economic development, service, safety, special assistant to the mayor, and guests. On the agenda were 3 pieces of legislation, the first being Resolution 2023-103, which reads, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Advanced Asphalt Paving to provide services to the parking area at Fire Station 2 at a cost of $19,900. Director Schofield addressed this issue with the committee. The building was constructed in 2007, and there has been little to no maintenance on the parking lot since that time. There are a number of areas where the water does not drain properly, and the pavement has a number of trip hazards present. The parking lot will be patched, regraded, and paved over. Moving forward, a regular maintenance schedule will be implemented. A motion was made to recommend approval of Resolution 2023-103 to all of council, and that motion passed with a vote of 3-0. The next item on the agenda was Ordinance 2023-105, which reads, an ordinance to authorize the appropriation of $82,500 for the North Olmsted Safe and Healthy Homes Home Repair Program Fund, subject to reimbursement by the Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council Energized Community Grant Program and declaring an emergency. Each year, NOPEC provides funds to the city for various uses. There was fund money from years 2018 to 2021 that had not been expended. NOPEC recently put an expiration date on the remaining funds, and there is currently money expiring in this fund in November of 2023. NOPEC requires the cities give back to the residents with this funding, and NOPEC has agreed to allow the funds to be used in the city's Safe and Healthy Homes initiative, which assists homeowners in need of repairs to their residential dwellings. A motion was made to recommend approval to all of council, and that motion passed with a vote of 3-0. The final item on the agenda was Ordinance 2023-110, which reads, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Cuyahoga County and the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Division, wherein the city will continue to implement a community diversion program to hear status, misdemeanor, or felony offense complaints involving juveniles through December 31st, 2024, and declaring an emergency. Chris Allegra addressed this matter with council. This is a 1-year renewal agreement with the county. The dollar amounts have increased from $8,000 to $9,300, and the stipend has also increased from $200 to $300 per person. The county has requested that the city finalize their portion of the agreement by the end of October. A motion was made to recommend approval to all of council for Ordinance 2023-110, and that motion passed with a vote of 3-0. The meeting concluded at 7:19 PM. Thank you. Councilman Limpert, Chairman of the Building, Zoning, and Development Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do have a report this evening, Madam President. Thank you. The Building Zone Development Committee met on October 10th, 2023 at 7:20 PM. Present were committee members Heeman, Limpert, Williamson, all of council, the mayor, law director, finance director, HR director, economic development director, safety director, service director, and special assistant to the mayor. On the agenda was PDC case 23-25256, which is Freddy's Frozen Custard at 27350 Lorraine Road. Discussed was a plan amendment to expand the drive to include additional exit lane. And after discussion, that was recommended for approval by council by a vote of 3-0. And the meeting concluded at 7:25 PM. It was 3-0, right? Correction, 2-1. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to make a motion to recommend PDC case 23-25256 and ask for a second.
Second.
Can you give me that number again?
Yes, 23-25256.
Motion to recommend approval of PDC case number 2325256 for Freddy's Frozen Custard at 27350 Lorraine Road, made by Councilman Limpert, seconded by Councilwoman Heeman. Roll call, please.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes. PDC case number 2325256 for Freddy's Frozen Custard passes with a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Madam President Pro Tem. Additionally, I'd like to make a motion related to ordinance 2023-95 to extend the time on the Planning and Design Commission for 30 days and ask for a second.
Second. Motion to extend the time to hear ordinance 2023-95 in Planning and Design Commission, made by Councilman Limpert, seconded by me. Roll call, please.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Motion to extend the time to hear ordinance 2023-95 in Planning and Design Commission passes by a vote of 7-0.
And Madam President, if I could just have a moment of personal privilege.
Certainly.
I attended the trunk or treat last weekend in the wind and rain, but it was a really successful event, and I think that's great that there's collaboration going on between the recreation and police departments. I know in previous years there'd been multiple events, and I think consolidating and creating a more robust event was a real success. So congratulations to that on the first combined police and rec trunk or treat. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Heeman, Chairwoman of the Recreation, Public Parks, and Buildings Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do not, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Glassburn, Chairman of the Finance Committee, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, I do, Madam President. Thank you. The Finance Committee met on October 10th, starting at 7:24 PM. Present were all of council, the mayor, and the directors of law, finance, HR, economic development, safety, service, and special assistant to the mayor. There were a number of items on the agenda that evening, including -106, which concerns an easement with Clegg Road, as well as 107, which concerned another easement with Clegg Road. 106 was favorably recommended 3-0, and 107's easement was favorably recommended 3-0. Next on the agenda was -108 concerning then announced certificates. The city is tightening its controls following a state audit, and these items are being addressed now. All items had previously been budgeted, and so those were approved, were recommended for approval 3-0. The next item on the agenda was 109. which concerned the Federal Equitable Sharing Fund. This is the establishment of fund for record keeping for our federal reporting purposes, and so that was favorably recommended 3-0. Last, or second to last, was 111, which was a transfer ordinance. This was favorably recommended 3-0 on suspension, and amongst other things, allows for changes in budgeting due to shortfalls in the STOP fund and increased funds for our senior transportation. After a recess at 7:52, the committee resumed at 9:24 to address -94 concerning the sale of parcel 233-26-063. The final property size has been settled at .6629 acres, as well as the final sale price. And at this time, I would move to amend 2023-94 to reflect those changes and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to amend ordinance 2023-94 made by Councilman Glassburn, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-94 is amended by a vote of 7-0.
That item was also favorably recommended 3-0, if I did not say that previously, and the committee adjourned at 9:34. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Scarl, Chairman of the Environmental Control Committee, do you have a report this evening?
No report, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gilchrist, Chairwoman of the Intragovernmental Relations Committee, do you have a report this evening?
Thank you, Madam President. I do have a report. The Intergovernmental Relations Committee met on Tuesday, October 10th, to discuss, 2023, to discuss the appointment of Mr. Frank Bolton to the Arts Commission for an unexpired term from January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2024. The meeting was called to order at 6:55 p.m. In attendance were committee members Gilchrist, Heeman, and Scarl, council members Broussard, Glassburn, and Madden, the mayor, the law director, the finance director, the HR director, the safety director, the service director, special assistant to the mayor, and guests. Mr. Bolton was given the opportunity to introduce himself, and pleasantries were discussed. At the conclusion of the discussion, Ms. Gilchrist made a motion to approve the appointment of Mr. Frank Bolton, which was seconded by Ms. Heeman. The motion passed 3-0. At this time, Madam President, I would like to approve the appointment of Mr. Frank Bolton to the Arts Commission for the unexpired term from January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2024, and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to approve the appointment of Mr. Frank Bolton to the Arts Commission for the unexpired term of January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2024, made by Councilwoman Gilchrist, seconded by Councilwoman Heeman. Roll call, please.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
The motion to approve the appointment of Mr. Frank Bolton to the Arts Commission passes by a vote of 7-0.
The committee meeting was concluded at 7:06 p.m. Thank you, Madam President. That concludes my report this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Madden, Chairman of the Streets and Transportation Committee, do you have a report this evening?
No, Madam President, no report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any letters or communications to come before council at this time?
No, Madam President.
Thank you. Moving into audience participation, thank you all for attending tonight's council meeting. Public comment offers the opportunity for members of the public to share information and bring issues and concerns to the attention of city council members. It is not a debate, and public comment speakers should not expect a back and forth exchange. Council members may ask clarifying questions of the speaker, city staff, or fellow council members. Those attending city council meetings should show the same respect to others that they wish to have shown to them. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to address council, please come to the podium, state and spell your name and address for the clerk. If you live in a city other than North Olmsted, please state the name of that city and proceed with your comments. You will have up to 5 minutes.
Good evening. Connie English, 5009 East Park Drive. You know I oppose the cell tower. I stand 100% behind my comments about the misinformation given in the June 27th video. I watched that video about 20 times, writing down word for word what was said before I spoke. I also went to look at the ball field in Berea, where Mr. Upton said a cell tower sits being unnoticed near lights. I couldn't find it. Mr. Pinchek gave me 3 other locations to see. One was in an industrial park in Westlake with no homes around it. One was in Olmsted Falls behind a school, 500 feet from 12 homes, and the other was at Bay Village football bleachers. Horrible idea, but only a couple backyards near. Asked again, where's the Berea field? Mr. Upton replied, I got my B cities wrong. It's Barberton. This whole process has felt very disingenuous since its start. I can only wonder how different things could be if we had known about the cell tower sooner. Would we be here at these meetings over and over pleading with you to realize an acceptable solution to deny or relocate the tower? Could those reasons be due to zoning issues, location selection, hierarchy, geotechnical studies, excessive tree pruning or removal, or just simply that the tower is really not necessary? The T-Mobile map of coverage for 4 and 5G in this area shows no dead zone. I called T-Mobile to have them check the coverage in this area, especially East Park Drive, and was told there's no shortage here. Before you allow the invasive destruction of our 98-year-old park, can you confirm that the site selection hierarchy was followed? Can you confirm that there's no other technology available to use in place of the 165-foot tower? Examples, DAS and nodes. Can you guarantee that all people and animals who enjoy this park daily can be assured that their safety is your #1 priority and not the $400,000 you'll be collecting for your forward-thinking project at the park? Putting a cell tower in the park and destroying the essence of the park in order to fix up the park is antithetical. This is wrong any way you look at this. You say, come enjoy this wonderful park, while at the same time children are playing ring around the cell tower. This is wrong. Although the government has made it difficult to navigate around telecommunication issues for cities, they have no-gap mandates in place. I am confident there are solutions we can appreciate and celebrate together. Looking out my front window, what do I see? I see a beautiful sky and beautiful trees. I see a sunrise. I see red-tailed hawks, Canadian geese, and wild turkeys. I see deer, fox, and coyotes. I see bats and I see blue herons. I see beautiful people. I see happiness, I see fun, I see children and adults playing football and flag football. I see basketball games, kickball games, volleyball games. I see baseball games and softball games and coach pitch games. I see frisbee golf, I see children playing in the sand, I see children flying kites, I see silver sneakers walking. I see dog walkers and dog obedience classes, I see workers cutting the grass. I see treasure hunters, I see homeless people, I see 5K runs, I see couples, I see friends, I see fights, I see parking lot donuts and fireworks being blown off at 1 a.m. I see carnivals and parades, I see birthday parties, graduation parties, and reunions. I see pizza parties, showers, and even weddings. I see car shows, I see school field day festivities, I see vans of daycare children spending their summer vacation here. I see children running around, I see concerts, I see people in hospital gowns enjoying the sun on park benches. I see park benches memorializing loved ones, I see people going to vote at the community cabin, I see moms and dads pushing strollers, I see cross-country practice, I see children on the swings, I see an Easter egg hunt, I see trunk or treat, I see a blood drive, I see the police driving around with their spotlights on, I see a storm rolling in, I see a sunset, I don't see a cell tower. Please save our park. North Olmsted Park has existed for 98 years. The land was purchased in 1925 by the city.
Miss English, you have 1 minute.
For $30,000 to use for recreation purposes, as there was no place in North Olmsted to do that at that time. The money was raised half by the church women from fees collected by prohibition violations and half by the sale of bonds, and they were excited to put the land in use immediately in the upcoming summer. Ironically, the land was purchased from Retta LaRange, who was the wife of a wealthy real estate developer named James LaRange. Upon further research, Mr. LaRange is considered to be the founding father of Playhouse Square. He has quite a biography, and it's unfortunate that this was not explored or mentioned prior, as you're planning to install a performance shell in the park. This is an extremely interesting connection we have to one of the best theater districts in the United States outside of New York. We must preserve the past for the future.
Good evening again. My name is Chris Kmiecik, K-M-I-E-C-I-K, 23727 Elm Road. And I was here at the last meeting, you may remember, and my family and I oppose adding a cell tower to our community park. I'm sure many of you have driven around the city and seen lots of yard signs and realize that there's many other people besides those that are here that oppose this idea as well. Last meeting, I spoke about why parks are crucial to our health and well-being. Tonight, I want to focus on why a cell tower in our park, within a few hundred feet of many homes, is detrimental to our health and well-being. Cell tower radiation is from radio waves, part of the non-ionizing portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. Many government and tech industry sources say that since this radiation is non-ionizing, that means it can't completely remove an electron from an atom or a molecule, it can't be harmful. In fact, the FCC's Telecommunication Act of 1996 prohibits local jurisdictions, all of you, from denying tower applications based on health issues. As long as the tower meets the FCC guidelines, it's presumed safe. Well, in August of 2021, a federal court in the District of Columbia ordered the FCC to explain why it ignored scientific evidence which shows harmful effects of the wireless radiation. The court found that the FCC ignored organizations, scientists, medical doctors who called on them to update their outdated radiation limits. In 2011, the World Health Organization's International Association on Research on Cancer, as well as the National Institute of Environmental Health Science, both designated this type of radiation as a possible human carcinogen. It's a class 2B. It's the same as lead and DDT. There's a large body of internationally accepted scientific research and evidence which shows the harmful effects of radio wave radiation, both in a lab and in the communities. Double the rate of lymphoma in lab rats, 2 to 4 times the cancer rate in soldiers in Poland, increased childhood leukemia, changes in sleep patterns, memory and attention decreases in school children, and so much more. Palm Beach, Florida, the city of LA, New Zealand, British Columbia, all have stopped towers and antennas from going near schools due to their concern for the health of their children. The Detroit City Council, in May of this year, has asked their health department to study cell tower health issues because of the concern within their communities. The FCC Telecommunication Act, as I mentioned, is from 1996. That's 27 years old. Tech has dramatically changed since then. We all know that. We're at 5G. They're already doing 6G. It's completely different. The regs don't take into account the long-term cumulative effects of radiation or of our vulnerable populations, our kids, pregnant women, the elderly, people with medical conditions, all of whom frequent our parks and live around our park. Even the U.S. Department of Interior stated the FCC reg is, quote, out of date and inapplicable today. One of the stated purposes of North Olmsted's wireless telecommunication reg, Chapter 1151, is to provide for and protect the health, safety, and general welfare of its residents and visitors. But nothing in that reg accomplishes this stated purpose, nothing. Your reg allows a cell tower in a park and within 300 feet of homes and residences. You're basing your plan on a 27-year-old regulation and ignoring reams of research. How many people visit our park each year? I'm sure you can answer that. It's probably thousands. How many people are in our senior center? Probably thousands. There's 56 homes just on those 3 streets that surround the park. There's hundreds and thousands of people that visit that park every year. Are you really protecting residents by putting a cell tower in our park? Do you want this to be your legacy, is putting a cell tower in our park? I'm confident there's a safer location if in fact there's actual need for a cell tower in that area. Maybe it should go 300 feet from your front door. Thank you. I look forward to the planning meetings.
Seeing no other comments from the audience, we will now move into legislation.
Legislation on third reading, Resolution 2023-100, introduced by Mayor Jones, a resolution authorizing the Director of Recreation and Public Engagement to advertise for bids for the award of a contract to provide construction services for the Springvale dredging project as detailed in specifications on file, and authorizing the mayor, following approval of the Board of Control, to enter into a contract for same with the lowest and best bidder.
Madam President,
Councilwoman.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 2023-100 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt Resolution 2023-100 made by Councilwoman Heeman, seconded by Councilman Scarl. Roll call, please.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Mr. Glassberg?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Resolution 2023-100 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Resolution 2023-101, introduced by Mayor Jones, a resolution authorizing the Director of Recreation and Public Engagement to advertise for bids for the award of a contract to provide construction services for the Springvale ADA Ramp Project, is detailed in specifications on file, and authorizing the mayor, following approval of the Board of Control, to enter into a contract for same with the lowest and best bidder.
Madam President,
Councilwoman.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 2023-101 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt Resolution 2023-101 made by Councilwoman Heeman, seconded by Councilman Scarl. Roll call, please.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Glassberg?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes. Resolution 2023-101 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Legislation on second reading, ordinance 2023-94, introduced by Mayor Jones, an ordinance directing that the real property owned by the city of North Olmsted and known as .6629 acres or 28,876 square feet of permanent parcel number 233-26063, which is presently undeveloped property but is no longer needed for municipal purposes, be sold to BDW Properties LLC, further authorizing the mayor to execute a purchase and sale agreement and all other documents required to effectuate said sale as amended.
Madam President,
Council.
move to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings. This item has been heard actually many times, more than twice, and is now amended with the correct statistical information about the property. I ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-94 made by Councilman Glassburn, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings passes by a vote of 7-0. If there is anyone in the audience who wishes to address council regarding ordinance 2023-94, please approach the podium now.
Jeff Sturgeon, 3092. Can you tell me exactly where is this parcel located at?
Mr. Surgeon, I could address that
Yeah.
if you'd like, Madam President. This property is immediately north of Weber Automotive, where it is on Lorraine Road near Stearns on the west end of the city, and extends 2/3 of an acre north.
Okay. And this property is going to be used with part of for the Weber property?
Yes, they're going to expand their operations and a retention basin at the property.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Madam President, seeing no other comments from the audience, I'd move to adopt 2023-94 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2023-94 made by Councilman Glassburn, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-94 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Resolution 2023-103, introduced by Mayor Jones, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Advanced Asphalt Paving, Inc. to provide services to the parking area at Fire Station 2 at a cost of $19,900. Ordinance 2023-105, introduced by Mayor Jones, an ordinance to authorize the appropriation of $82,500 for the North Olmsted Safe and Healthy Homes Home Repair Program Fund, subject to reimbursement by the Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, NOPEC Energized Community Grant Program, and declaring an emergency.
Madam President,
Councilman.
I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings as the deadline to submit this grant is prior to the next council meeting, and ask for a second.
Second. Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-105 made by Councilman Madden, seconded by Councilwoman Williamson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-105 passes by a vote of 7-0. If there is anyone in the audience who wishes to address council regarding ordinance 2023-105, please approach the podium now.
Madam President,
Councilman.
seeing and hearing no comments, I move to adopt ordinance 2023-105 and ask for a second.
Second. Motion to adopt ordinance 2023-105 made by Councilman Madden, seconded by Councilwoman Williamson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-105 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance 2023-106, introduced by Mayor Jones, an ordinance accepting a .0048 acre permanent right-of-way easement acquired for a public purpose, to wit, the establishment, construction, reconstruction, widening, repair, or maintenance of Clegg Road from Kyle Wells and Catherine Wells on property known as permanent parcel number 231-10-068 and declaring an emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for this legislation. This item will provide for the widening and rehabilitation of Clegg Road, which will enhance the safety of the road, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-106 made by Councilman Glassburn, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-106 passes by a vote of 7-0. If there is anyone in the audience who wishes to address council regarding ordinance 2023-106, please approach the podium now.
Seeing none, Madam President, I move to adopt 106 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2023-106 made by Councilman Glassburn, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Lim?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes. Ordinance 2023-106 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance 2023-107, introduced by Mayor Jones, an ordinance accepting a .0073 acre permanent right-of-way easement acquired for a public purpose, to wit, the establishment, construction, reconstruction, widening, repair, or maintenance of Clegg Road from Carson Wasserbeck, AKA Carson Lee Wasserbeck, and Lori A. Wasserbeck on property known as permanent parcel number 231-10-005 and declaring an emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 hearings. This item, like 106, provides for the public safety by allowing for expansion and rehabilitation of Clegg Road, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-107 made by Councilman Glassburn, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-107 passes by a vote of 7-0. If there is anyone in the audience who wishes to address council regarding ordinance 2023-107, please approach the podium now.
Seeing and hearing none, Madam President, I move to adopt 2023-107 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2023-107 made by Councilman Glassburn, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Madden, or, I'm sorry, Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-107 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance 2023-108, introduced by Mayor Jones, an ordinance to authorize the execution of additional then and now certificates by the Finance Director and the payment of amounts due for various purchase orders and declaring an emergency. Resolution 2023-109, introduced by Mayor Jones, a resolution authorizing the Director of Finance to create the Federal Equitable Sharing Fund to track both revenue and expenditures for the United States Department of Justice and the United States Department of Treasury. Equitable sharing funds are tangible property dispersed to the city and declaring an emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings on this legislation. This is an intergovernmental agreement and will allow for us to receive federal grants, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for Resolution 2023-109 made by Councilman Glassburn, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for Resolution 2023-109 passes by a vote of 7-0. If there is anyone in the audience who wishes to address council regarding Resolution 2023-109, please approach the podium now.
Seeing and hearing none, Madam President, I move to adopt 2023-109 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt Resolution 2023-109 made by Councilman Glassburn, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Resolution 2023-109 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance 2023-110, introduced by Mayor Jones, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Cuyahoga County and the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Division, wherein the city will continue to implement a community diversion program to hair status, misdemeanor, or felony offense complaints involving juveniles through December 31st, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Madam President,
Councilman.
I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings as this agreement is due to the county on October the 20th of 2023 and ask for a second.
Second. Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-110 made by Councilman Madden, seconded by Councilwoman Williamson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-110 passes by a vote of 7-0. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to address council regarding ordinance 2023-110, please approach the podium now.
Madam President,
Councilman.
seeing and hearing no comments, I move to adopt ordinance 2023-110 and ask for a second.
Second. Motion to adopt ordinance 2023-110 made by Councilman Madden, seconded by Councilwoman Williamson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Glassbern?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-110 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance 2023-111, introduced by Mayor Jones, an ordinance to make and transfer appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures for the city of North Olmsted for the year ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for this legislation. This concerns our changes to the city budget that include items for public safety and public welfare, including those for our police and for the law department fundings. And I ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-111 made by Councilman Glassbern, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassbern?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes. Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings for ordinance 2023-111 passes by a vote of 7-0. If there is anyone in the audience who wishes to address council regarding ordinance 2023-111, please approach the podium now.
Seeing none, Madam President, I move to adopt 2023-111 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2023-111 made by Councilman Glassbern, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassbern?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-111 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Legislation on first reading, Resolution 2023-112, a resolution authorizing the Director of Economic and Community Development to make application on behalf of the City of North Olmsted to the State of Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, to participate in the Safe Routes to School grant program, and further authorizing the mayor to accept the grant if awarded and execute agreements therefore, and declaring an emergency.
Madam President, I introduce and place on first reading.
Thank you.
Resolution 2023-113, a resolution authorizing the Director of Economic and Community Development to make application on behalf of the City of North Olmsted for Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, funds for fiscal year 2024 for the North Olmsted Senior Center renovation project, further authorizing the mayor to accept grant funds if awarded and to execute contract with Cuyahoga County if required, and declaring an emergency.
Madam President, I introduce, place on first reading, and request suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings and formal committee review.
Madam President,
Councilwoman.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings and formal committee review. This was heard in caucus this evening, and this actually is something that will benefit the health and welfare of not only our seniors using the senior center, but also all residents using the community cabin and the senior center for any purpose. And ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings and formal committee review for Resolution 2023-113 made by Councilwoman Heeman, seconded by Councilman Scarl. Roll call, please.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Glassbern?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings and formal committee review for Resolution 2023-113 passes by a vote of 7-0. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to address council regarding Resolution 2023-113, please approach the podium now.
Madam President,
Councilwoman.
seeing no comments, I'd like to make a motion to adopt 2023-113 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt Resolution 2023-113 made by Councilwoman Heeman, seconded by Councilman Scarl. Roll call, please.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Glassbern?
Yes.
Resolution 2023-113 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Resolution 2023-114, 114, a resolution authorizing the Senior Center Administrator to make application to the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging, WRAAA, for a Title III nutrition grant for 2024, 2025, 2026, and 2027, and if awarded, further authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with WRAAA to accept the grant funds and declaring an emergency.
Madam President, I introduce, place on first reading, and request suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings and formal committee review.
Madam President,
Councilwoman.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings and formal committee review. This was heard in caucus this evening, and this is in the interest of health, welfare, and safety of our senior citizens and their meals served at the senior center, and I'd like to ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings and formal committee review for Resolution 2023-114 made by Councilwoman Heeman, seconded by Councilman Scarl. Roll call, please.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Glassberg?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings and formal committee review for Resolution 2023-114 passes by a vote of 7-0. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to address council regarding Resolution 2023-114, please approach the podium now.
Madam President,
Councilwoman.
seeing no comments, I'd like to move to adopt 2023-114 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt Resolution 2023-114 made by Councilwoman Heeman, seconded by Councilman Scarl. Roll call, please.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Mr. Glassberg?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes. Resolution 2023-114 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Resolution 2023-115, a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service to advertise for bids for the award of a contract to purchase concrete materials and related supplies for the year 2024 as detailed in specifications on file, and authorizing the mayor, following approval of the Board of Control, to contract for the same with the lowest and best bidder.
Madam President, I introduce and place on first reading.
Resolution 2023-116, a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service to advertise for bids for the award of a contract to provide asphalt and related materials for repairs upon city streets as detailed in specifications on file, and authorizing the mayor, following approval of the Board of Control, to contract for the same with the lowest and best bidder.
Madam President, I introduce and place on first reading.
Resolution 2023-117, a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service to advertise for bids for the award of a contract to perform heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, HVAC services as detailed in specifications on file, and authorizing the mayor, following approval of the Board of Control, to contract for the same with the lowest and best bidder.
Madam President, I introduce and place on first reading.
Resolution 2023-118, a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service to advertise for bids for the award of a contract to perform pest control services as detailed in the specifications on file, and authorizing the mayor, following approval of the Board of Control, to contract for same with the lowest and best bidder.
Madam President, I introduce and place on first reading.
Resolution 2023-119, a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service to advertise for bids for the award of a contract to perform elevator inspection, maintenance, and repair as detailed in the specifications on file, and authorizing the mayor, following approval of the Board of Control, to contract for the same with the lowest and best bidder.
Madam President, I introduce and place on first reading.
Resolution 2023-120, a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service to advertise for bids for the award of a contract to purchase stone materials and related supplies for the year 2024 as detailed in the specifications on file, and authorizing the mayor, following approval of the Board of Control, to contract for the same with the lowest and best bidder.
Madam President, I introduce and place on first reading.
Resolution 2023-121, a resolution adopting Lorraine Road Corridor Study for the purpose of guiding the development of a Transportation for Livable Communities Initiatives TLCI plan.
Madam President, I introduce and place on first reading.
Resolution 2023-122, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a 2-year contract with the Cuyahoga County Board of Health in the total amount of $11,188 for each year payment of $5,594.
Madam President, I introduce and place on first reading.
Resolution 2023-123, a resolution authorizing the mayor to contract for the purchase of 25 portable radios from Motorola Solutions at a cost of $1,116,000, wait.
You almost had
I did it. $116,000 and, oh my God.
$649.
Yes! It is priced through the state purchase program and required by the state of Ohio's Marks Radio Network for deployment by the North Olmsted Police Department, and further authorizing the mayor to execute all contract documents and declaring an emergency. And that's
Madam
because of you
President,
this
I
morning.
introduce and place on first reading.
Can I hear that again?
Which part?
whole
Director
thing.
Garreau was teasing me about that this morning, so I think it was fresh in my mind.
It was perfect.
My apologies.
It was perfect.
Resolution 2023-124, a resolution authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city to accept grant funding in the amount of $256,588 from the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, OJP, entitled Rural and Small Department Violent Crime Reduction Program, in order to expand the pool of police officers trained on the Advanced Crisis Intervention Team, CIT, and further authorizing the mayor to execute acceptance documentation with the Department of Justice, as well as the begun Center for Violence Prevention, Research, and Education and Analytics, and declaring an emergency.
Madam President, I introduce and place on first reading.
Moving into scheduling committee meetings for Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. I would like to schedule a committee of the whole meeting for next Tuesday at 6:30 PM to hear a presentation sponsored by Director Upton regarding the Aerozone Alliance. I will also schedule a Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee meeting on October 24th at 7 PM to hear resolutions 2023-112, 123, and 124. Councilwoman Heeman, would you like to schedule Recreation, Public Parks, and Buildings?
Thank you, Madam President. I would. I'd like to schedule that meeting for 7:10 for resolutions 2023-117, 118, and 119. I would like, please, if the Service Director and the Director of Public Recreation and Public Engagement could attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Scarl, would you like to schedule an environmental control meeting?
Yes, I would, Madam President. The environmental control meeting will start 7:15 to 7:20 for Resolution 2023-122. And the mayor will not be there, and that's fine because she needs to be with her son, and that's congratulations on that. So any designee that you choose, Mayor, that would be fine. Thank you.
Councilman Madden, would you like to schedule a Streets and Transportation Committee meeting?
Yes, Madam President. I'd like to schedule the Streets and Transportation Committee meeting from 7:20 till 7:30 to discuss 2023-115, 116, 117, and 120.
And 121? And 121?
No, not 117.
Not 117.
Thank you.
15, 16, 20, 21. I'd like to make a motion to excuse the absence of Council President Brossard and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to excuse Council President Brossard made by Councilwoman Williamson, seconded by Councilman Scarl and Councilwoman Heeman. Roll call, please.
Gilchrist.
Oh, Ms. Gilchrist.
And Heeman.
And Heeman. By everyone.
I have trouble with Motorola. Do you want me to do that? Who seconded it?
Everybody.
Okay. Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes. Council President Brossard's absence is excused by a vote of 7-0. With the agenda being completed and there being no further business to come before council, This meeting of October 17th, 2023 is adjourned at 9:05 PM.
Exactly.
That was fun.
Director, I'm going to ask her somebody new to write the legislation from now on.
Yeah, why are you doing
You got in my
that
mind
internal
this morning.
tongue twisters?
I know.
I was like this.
Why couldn't I read this?
They want to write me a check
January 1st, 2021.